Hey guys, it's Xander Ascends back with another video. Today we're going to talk a little bit about credit. Credit is one of those things that most people probably hear a lot about but don't really know the ins and outs. Credit comes in the form of a credit card, an auto loan, or mortgage payment, various different things. They don't really teach about it in schools, or at least in the schools in the area where I live, so I thought what better way to inform about credit than to make a video about it. It's something that I really didn't know much about growing up, so it was something I had to learn about, and I made a lot of bad decisions prior. So my goal with this video is just to inform you guys a little bit about credit, just to kind of make sure that you're in the know as far as how the credit system works and things like that. So let's dive right in. But before we do, please make sure to turn on the post notifications so you guys get notified when I post a video, and subscribe to the channel. And like I always say, if at the end of the video you learn something, like the video and share it so that someone else can get a little bit of this knowledge. So, all right, without further ado, let's dive right in. So first, I guess I can define credit. In layman's terms, credit is basically money borrowed that's used to purchase services or goods that's typically paid back at a later time with some type of interest attached to it. That's what credit is. The best way to think about credit, think of it as like a report card of sorts. So most adults at one point or another will have a credit score. And basically a credit score is a determination. It's like a report card so that lenders can see how responsible you are with money. So if I'm a complete and total stranger and you come to me asking me to borrow money, I'm going to look at your credit score to see how good you are with not only managing credit, but managing your finances and things of that nature. So your credit score is tracked by 3 different credit bureaus, and sometimes they each have their own scores and use their own scoring models. But the 3 big credit bureaus are Equifax, Experian, and Transunion. So let's say you go to apply for a car. They're going to check your credit reports, see what's on it, to see if they're going to loan you money, and if they do decide to loan you money, to see what interest is going to be attached to that. And basically what interest means is how much more or how much extra you're going to have to pay on top of the money that you borrowed as you're paying the loan back. So how your credit score is generated. Basically, the 3 credit bureaus track all of your credit management information from credit card payments, accounts that you have in collections, on time and late payments and things like that. And they determine what your score is. And your score is basically your credit reputation. So obviously you want to be closer to the 850 range and as far as possible away from the 500 range, because that'll make lenders more willing to lend to you. And having a low credit score can be very expensive just because interest rates are very, very high for people with low credit scores. So it's really important to kind of know how to maintain a good credit score and some of the negative things that will affect your credit. And I'll talk about that in another video. But today the purpose is just to kind of give you a passing familiarity with how your credit is made up and things of that nature. I want to note that information on your credit report can go back as far as 7 years. So depending on how you start out with using your credit and things like that, some of that stuff can stay with you for a very long time. So it's really important to know what things encompass your credit score and how to make sure that you maintain a decent credit score. So your credit score is made up of different categories. You have your amounts owed, which accounts for 30%. You have your payment history, which accounts for 35%. You have the types of credit used, so whether it's revolving credit, whether it's a car loan or different things like that, that make up 10%. You have new credit. That's credit that you may have just gotten or any type of applications for credit that you have applied for. That makes up 10%. And then you have the length of credit, which makes up 15%. So that's the amount of time that you've had credit. So if you've had a credit card for 10 years, that looks a lot better than having a credit card obviously for a year, just because 10 years of history is a lot of time to kind of learn about your habits and things like that, whereas 1 year you can't really tell how good you are at managing your credit. So credit bureaus look at all of these different things, and they use those to determine what your credit score is, and that score basically tells them whether you're a risk or not. It tells the lenders whether you are going to be willing and able to pay back your debt or whether you're not going to be able to. So what I tell people when looking at their credit scores, obviously the things that encompass or take up more percentage, so like the 30% and things like that, those are the things that you really want to make sure that you watch. And it's really just about making sure that you are organized. The best thing I can tell you, and one of the things that helped me as far as rebuilding my credit score, it was really just organization. Making sure I knew when my bills were due, making sure I paid them on time, making sure I didn't max out my cards and things like that. And in the next video, I'll talk about some credit tips. So I'll give you guys some tips on how to boost and maintain your credit score, and then I'll talk about some of the do's and don'ts. But this is just a quick video to give you a little bit of idea of what a credit score is, what credit is, and things like that. I want to stress that credit is extremely important. At one point in your life or another, chances are you will need credit. Credit is used for bank loans. Credit is used to take out mortgages. Credit is used to buy houses. Some employers in apartment buildings even look at your credit to determine whether they want to hire you or whether they want to allow you to sign a lease. Credit is really, really easy to mess up, and it can take time to rebuild once you do that, but it's not that hard to maintain once you're just starting out. So I just want to make sure that in the next few videos, I provide you guys with some tips on how to manage and maintain your credit, because it's extremely important. And for those of you who have never looked at your credit score or are not sure where to, there are a lot of resources out there that will allow you to look at your credit score for free. Some that pay, but I don't think they're really expensive when you take into account what you're getting. So creditkarma.com, Credit Sesame, those are some websites that look at a Vantage score so you can kind of get a guesstimation of what your credit score is. I use Experian. I pay like $20 a month, and that kind of helps me to see all of my credit scores, so my Equifax, my Transunion, and my Experian. You could also go to myfreeannualcreditreport.com because legally you're obligated one free credit report a year. And I'll put the link down in the description below so that if you guys want to see what your credit score is, you can look at that clicking on the link. So basically, when your credit score is calculated by TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, all the data that they collect is compiled into a credit report. And the credit report is what the lenders will pull to determine whether you're a financial risk or not. It'll have your score attached and every positive and negative thing that has ever been attached to basically your social security number that's ever been attached to your credit. So if you have never seen your credit report before, I would suggest that you take a look. You'd be surprised. A lot of the times there's information on there that you didn't really know was on there. A lot of time there's some things on there that are inaccurate. You never really know. So if you're not in the know about your credit report, I would definitely suggest looking into that. And information on your credit report is legally allowed to be on there for 7 years. So you definitely want to make sure that you're in the know and you take a look at the credit report. And that way you can kind of see what the lenders are seeing when they're trying to determine whether you're a financial risk or not. So as I stated, your credit score is your reputation. It's your credit reputation. So your score says a lot about how you've managed credit you previously have gotten, how you manage your money basically. So you want to make sure that you know what goes into calculating your credit score. In the next video, I'm going to talk about some tips and tricks on how to maintain and how to boost your credit score. If there's anything you guys want to know or any questions you have about how to do that, please feel free to leave some comments down below. I plan to take a look at those before I get into my next video. It's really, 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 really easy once you know how to maintain a credit score and how to boost a credit score, how to do it, as long as you remain organized. So leave some comments down below to let me know if there's anything that you guys want to know or you want me to talk about in regards to credit. This is Xander. I'm signing out.